Welcome back to Syracuse Aviation, everyone. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It really helps me out. I'd greatly appreciate that. So today I have a video showing you guys how to repair your broken model aircraft. So I've just got this JetBlue A321 from NG Models. This is how it showed up to me. The left wing came out. Thankfully there's not a whole lot of paint chipping. That's something that I can't really show you guys how to fix, unfortunately. There's not really a good way to fix that. That looks like new in the end. So the left wing came out, the left engine fell off the pylon, as you can see, and the right engine snapped off the wing. The actual pylon split in half. So that's something that if you're going to fix, I would recommend getting a completely new part. I am getting a replacement for this whole aircraft, so this is probably just going to end up being used for parts at the end of the day because I'm quite a perfectionist and I care deeply about the way that the planes look. But I'm just going to show you guys how I would repair this if I were you. And we're going to start with the easiest part. First of all, I'd recommend getting some super glue gel. This is what I use. It's very, very strong. It's just as strong as the regular super glue. What I like about this is because it's a gel, it doesn't run. So you just put a little dab and it stays exactly how it is, just in a little bubble. You put that on the piece, fit it into the fuselage, and it's good to go. It shouldn't come out again. So first thing I'm going to do, and you want to be careful when you squeeze this, you don't want too much to come out. So just like that, maybe a little more. Sometimes you can get some dry excess and you don't really want that, so scrape that off. And you don't need much. I usually put a little bit more than I think I need just to be safe, but if you do too much, it's going to be overfilled and it can make a lot of issues when you put it in. So if it looks really thick, as you can see here, just go ahead and touch it along a surface. And if you, sometimes it can be difficult, you might need a little bit more, but you just want to make sure it's not going to cause too much of a mess. So that should be good right there. And just basically common sense. Carefully, slowly fit it in just like that. Make sure you push it all the way in so that there's no gap. You can hold it for a few seconds if you'd like. You can take it off. Don't pull on it for a while just to make sure. It does dry very fast, but you just want to make sure that you don't pull it out while it's in the middle of drying. There's always going to be a little bit of a gap, well, most of the time, on some part of the wing, which is fine. It's never going to be perfect, but that's the wing, so that's pretty easy. I may find a model to do an antenna demonstration on for you guys, because that's probably the hardest part to do with these planes, just because they're so tiny. You just need some tweezers for them, and I'll try to find a plane that I can do that on. I'm sure I have one with a missing antenna. Usually there's some planes falling out of repair. So next thing I'm going to do is probably the next easiest part. Just take this engine, pop it back on the pylon here, just like that. So obviously, probably the best thing to do is to always put the glue on the piece that is protruding, sticking out like that, and then fitting the piece with the invagination over top of it. So you're just going to go ahead and put a little bit on the underside, just like that. A nice line. You can even do some on the sides too. That's a little bit much. So I don't have anything to take it off with, so I'm going to use this piece of a 737 wing and just kind of touch that up. You don't need much, really. With these parts being so small, it really doesn't take a lot of glue. Again, the nice thing about gel is that it doesn't dry right away and it doesn't run, so you have some time to work with it. And pop the engine on top there, just like that. It is a little bit wobbly and loose, so I'm going to hold this one for a little bit just to make sure it's not going to fall off. The piece itself is very wobbly, as you can see, so make sure you hold it in a position that you're going to want it to be once it dries. And there we have it. So it's about as good as it can get. It's a little bit crooked still. I'm thinking that's just the pylon being slightly crooked. Better than it was. So you have the wing, the engine on the pylon. Next I'm going to do the I'm gonna do the nose gear. So unfortunately, this is missing the actual the right door. So as you can see, it's just kind of snapped clean off. I do have it still. It's not something I'm gonna worry about right now. It's pretty self-explanatory after you guys saw everything else, how you'd put that back on. The whole nose gear like piece is coming out. You can tell the door is just really tall, so it's like the whole block is almost coming out. So if I could, I would get a replacement for that whole thing and just take the piece out and put the new one in, but I don't have a new piece and I don't have a way to take the old one out really. So what we're gonna do is just take what we have of the shaft, and you can kind of see where that would go. Basically, obviously it's not glued yet, but just like that. Grab your glue here as you normally would. Squeeze out just a little bit. That's probably plenty. That's not going to go anywhere. Grab your plane. That might actually be slightly too much, so just go ahead and touch it on something. Gets a little bit of it off there. Grab the plane and stick it in the socket. Just like that. The next thing, we have this pylon, which is snapped. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm assuming if I bend it back, it's going to snap again, but if it does, we'll just glue it. So, now what I should have done is put some glue there to begin with, and then close it. But now that I've already bent it, it's probably going to snap the next time. Let's see what I can do, alright? I've never done this before. This is a really interesting fix. Wow, this is tiny. This is very, very tiny. Okay, just gonna go for it. Alright, so there's some on there, just a very, very thin layer. Close that back up and hold it there. You can see a little bit of glue on there. Just gonna hold it for a few seconds. And there you have it. So it's not totally perfect, but it's as good as it can get. Not too noticeable. I might end up reselling this actually. I did talk about using it for scrap, like if I need spare landing gear or antennas or whatever, but I don't think I will be for a while, so, and if I do, I'll just get replacements. I'll probably sell this, so if you want it, maybe I'll link it. If I put it on eBay, I'll put a link in the description or something, but we'll see. So, next step is basically to do the same thing, but it's, you know, split in half now. So, again, you really could put glue on either part. I'm going to do it on the engine. So I'm actually going to put some glue on the top. This piece is going to be touching the wing. So a little bit there and then a little bit where the split is, just like that. Go ahead and grab the plane. Just fit it on there. And after holding it for a few minutes to dry, it should be good as new. Well, as good as you can get it for how it arrived to you. So, you know, it doesn't look terrible. You can tell that something happened if you look close, but at a model airport setup from back here, can't really notice the difference too much. Alright, for the next segment, for how to put a antenna back in, I did find that my Herart here 757 had a missing antenna. Well, not missing, but, you know, not in its proper socket there. There's a little paint chip there too. That's not something I'm going to worry about fixing just because I don't have that kind of technology to make that look really nice and new. So there's the antenna there. So you can see the challenge here. You got to fit that tiny little piece, that little nub at the end, into that socket. So small the camera can barely see it. So you want to find yourself a nice pair of tweezers, which I have. A lot of tweezers have like rubber tips that are really good because it can form around the shape of the antenna better and have a better grip, but at the same time they can be a little bit chunky and hard to use. The problem with the more, you know, razor thin metal tweezers like this, they can chip some of the paint on the antenna. I've never had that issue, but I know some people have. So you just got to be gentle. You know, you want to hold it well enough that it's not going to fall out, but you don't want it to chip, obviously. So This is a tricky step also because the glue, you need a very, very small amount. I've done it many times where you just put too much. You think you're being safe, using more glue than maybe necessary just to make sure it's not going to come out. You really, really don't need that much. The first thing I want to do, as you can see, I'm having some trouble here. Sorry. Getting the antenna in the tweezers. It just takes a lot of work to get it in there. You want to make sure it's positioned in the right way first, obviously. I'm probably going to have to do this off camera. Nice. Alright, so I got it here. It's very, very tricky. So, yeah, I'm trying to get it to focus. So I'm going to just do my best here. Get a little bit of glue out on the end, just a little bubble. Poke the tip of the antenna into there. Again, you're probably not going to even be able to see the glue on there for how much you should be using. Get it above the hole. Poke it in. Might take some messing with. Sorry, I have to do this off camera, but I just want to make sure I'm getting in there because I can't really see. You might just have to move it with your finger to get it, laying in the right direction. But there you go. It's very, very tedious. Very can be stressful. You want to make sure you have it in the right position because once it's in, and there it is. You can see antenna is where it should be. Again, it looks chunky because of the paint chip, and it is twisted a little bit. Okay, I was able to get it back how it should be, but that's how you do the antenna. It is by far the most difficult part. Be careful, take your time, please. Do not put a huge gob of glue on there. Do yourself a favor first. As I said, get some super glue gel and just be careful. Again, take your time. It's not a rush. You don't want to sacrifice, the whole tail section of a model because you used too much glue and then you smudged it. That is how to repair model airplanes with some various examples on different parts of the aircraft. If you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and let me know. I'll try my best to answer them. Wi-Fi boxes I've had issues with falling out. They basically, underneath them, just have a little peg sticking down. It's pretty much the same thing as an antenna, but it's much easier. It's just a little tiny cylinder. It's probably 5 times the width of the antenna. And then the hole obviously is much bigger as well. They're a lot easier of a fix, but it's the same concept. Everything is pretty similar. You just have to take your time, be careful, and you should do pretty well, especially if you do it multiple times in the past. Then you probably wouldn't be watching this video, but for you first timers, that's probably all the information you're going to need on just how to replace or put new parts in. So I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, please consider liking the video and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. The support really helps me keep this channel going and doing what I'm doing for all of you guys. So I appreciate you guys' support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.